welcome to ECTV. On today's topic, we'll be discussing on child's discipline. Joining us today are two very important guests who will be sharing their different perspective on this topic. Please, can you tell us your name, ma'am?
Lauren Okpala.
And you, sir?
Richard Igwe.
Thank you for being with us today. Okay, so now let's dive into our conversation on school and external discipline. So, do you think that school teachers and principals should be allowed to flog pupils, or should discipline be left strictly for the parents?
Okay. For me, I think discipline. One of the reasons why parents send their children to schools is for them to be able to help them shape their children into what they think that child should be, and discipline is part of what cultivates a child into becoming what he or she is supposed to be in the future. But you cannot be able to send somebody to a particular place for shaping without expecting that person to use all necessary method to be able to get that particular result which you are looking for. Let me take, for instance, so many parents fail to train their own children. They fail to give their children the proper morals. It's in that school that they discipline those children. So for me, I support the fact that discipline should be for teachers, inclusive, not just parents. I grew up as a young person. We're going to school. One of the things that makes us do what we are supposed to do right is the fact that we know that our teacher is going to flog us. Now, the training is not only for teachers. While growing up, you see that sometimes even the brother on the street will bring out time and discipline you if you should disrespect your parents. So that helps us to shape us into what we are today. We go around these days, we see many parents, their children misbehaving because why? They go to school late because they know the teachers cannot be able to flog them. And so many other things that happens in school because there is a little to what the teachers can be able to do. But when you know that your teacher is going to flog the hell out of you, you will be able to know that one, you have to go on time. So you might have to be in your best behavior. Three, you have to sit up to make sure that you have good grades. So for me, this is my own perspective about the topic that is set aside this morning.
Okay, that's very good. So, ma'am.
Okay, so of the opinion that both the parents and the teachers should be involved in discipline. But when it comes to physical discipline, that's physical abuse, because that's what I target, right? So when you say discipline, I think one of the major problems we have is we think discipline is only when you physically flog or like when you touch someone. Now, let me give you a perfect example. You could actually, there are different options that educators can use to pass their message across. You could, for instance, order non-physical punishment. You could take away certain privileges. You could prevent the child from attending some of their extracurricular activities. Like if, for instance, I know like most of our foreign education system, they use detention. Those break period that the child is supposed to have fun and play with their friends, you can take that away from the child. Those are ways to actually discipline without necessarily going physical. That's of my own opinion.
Okay, I have a question. So how do you take away a privilege from a child? Okay, let me use you take a child to a detention and that child ends up sleeping in that detention. Like you have given that child more privilege.
Okay, do you know physical discipline is just a temporal solution to problem? Why I say conversations helps because yes, non-physical discipline is it takes time, it requires more work, right? It requires you to spend like flogging a child would give you
A quick result.
a quick result.
That is what we
Exactly.
want.
So we don't want quick result. We need permanent and positive results. You're flogging a child, you're just making this child afraid of you. At that moment, the child can like you can easily just whenever the child sees you, they act right. just in your presence. And then when you leave, the child goes to his default settings. And then with time, when that child builds tolerance, he's no more afraid of you. That's when you see the repercussion of physical discipline. So, but when you speak, when you use non-violent approach to these kind of things, it would take more time to pass your message across, but it's a permanent resolution to those kind of
But do you believe, do you actually know that this doesn't work for all children?
No, it does for everyone.
It doesn't work for all children. There are children that are inbuilt stubborn, and that no matter the amount of talk you talk to them, people have been talking to them before you came. And the only solution
Not
is
just only speaking.
Teach them.
sometimes that touch, that fear,
Rebuild
it shapes that child into what he's supposed to be.
No. See, let me tell you, there's 3 children being raised in, let's give an instance, 3 children being raised with the same physical discipline,
Yeah.
right? They turn up. One could either grow up as a very quiet and reclusive person. He doesn't speak up. First of all, like, I feel, to me, physical violence or physical discipline is temporal. That's just the truth. Because if that child the child becomes quieter, the child has low self-esteem. You've made this child like those same children that you beat and you tell them not to talk when your elders are speaking. A time would get in their life that you would now expect them to speak. They can't speak up for themselves anymore. That is the result of those beating that you have been shutting them down consistently. So to me, it's not a permanent solution.